The inclusion of exclusive content within products is a common practice in the trading card game industry. Including a special card within a starter deck, a two-player set, or a supplemental product often helps to make an otherwise low-value product more attractive. This practice is especially common in starter-type products, essentially helping to bolster the product sales via encouraging the existing player base to also purchase the product. But this practice certainly walks a fine line. So when is it acceptable, and when does it cross that line and become scummy? A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Thanks so much for tuning in once again today, talking a somewhat controversial topic in trading card games in general, and that is the concept of exclusive content, and more specifically, its use to sell product and, yes, sometimes force the sale of that product. Now, this conversation has always been present to a certain degree, but more recently in Flesh and Blood has come to the forefront with the announcement of the Armory Decks product line. That's right, fully out-of-the-box playable, armory-ready, classic constructed decks. Walk into your LGS, grab one, rip it open, and join in on the fun. And this is incredibly fantastic news. It's been what we, the community, have wanted for years. But with that excitement, legitimate concerns regarding limited print runs and exclusive content. As I discussed in an earlier video, the limited runs of the individual armory decks not only make sense, but are a smart thing, assuming, of course, the exclusive content doesn't make it a must-buy for current players. The smart folks in our community immediately realized that the exclusive content was the actual driver for concern. If these decks include something that the player base must have, then there could be a run on the product, depleting it, feeding speculators, and never making it into the intended hands. And thus is the primary risk of exclusive content, and that's why it makes many players within our games very upset and concerned. For me, it's pretty straightforward. Special treatments are completely acceptable. Unique game pieces or not. Until its reprint in Crucible of War, Lunging Press was only available in the Katsu starter deck, and of course for free in the Ira Welcome deck, assuming of course you could find that. The Monarch starter decks then upped the exclusive content game with rainbow foil heroes, but also mentors. Given the high value of those decks comparatively at the time, tons of availability, a hungry player base, and the fact that mentors were only playable in Blitz, this never became a major point of contention across the Flesh and Blood community at the time. And when specific outlets get their own exclusive special treatment promos for buying from them, it can certainly be very frustrating. But it doesn't force a purchase or change your ability to play the game. But then came Classic Battles, Dorinthea versus Rhinar. An absolutely awesome product concept, a two-player set with well-balanced decks designed for ease and learning. The price tag was high, but it came with cold foil heroes, cold foil weapons, rainbow foil equipment, and a boatload of unique game pieces, most of which were constructed legal. Nearly every Flesh and Blood player was on board to pick up a copy, not just for the game pieces, but for their collections. But there was one major problem with Classic Battles DVR, Glistening Steelblade. Included as a one-of in the product, a Blitz format product even, Glistening Steelblade was the card that drove the need for players to pick up multiple copies of a product, just to collect the playset. And this is where the concept of exclusive content not only crosses a line, but then sets it on fire and pees on it. See, requiring players to purchase multiple copies of the same supplemental product in order to obtain a playset of the exclusive unique game pieces is at best a questionable practice. Not only was this a hot topic with many in the Fab community at the time, but for this reason, Glistening Steelblade soured what would have otherwise been an amazingly well-received product. Furthermore, I believe that this is what is serving to increase the sensitivity, concern, and fear around the Armory Decks product line. Because let's face it, exclusive content in of itself is not strictly a bad thing. Consider Flesh and Blood's most recent success, the Heavy Hitters pre-constructed decks, as I stated in my initial review from Queenstown.
And I'm very, very impressed with these decks as a product, and I think they might actually be the best Blitz precons we've seen to date. Why? Is it just because they're decent value, packed with goodies like RFs and alt-art cards? Yes. But it also, for me, is that you don't have to buy them. I think you just want to.
In terms of exclusive content, the Heavy Hitters Precons not only saw the return of Rainbow Foil Young Heroes, but also the introduction of exclusive non-foil extended art versions of some key mechanical pieces of the set. That, in addition to the fact that the decks were extremely balanced and fun, made the product very well received by the Flesh and Blood community. So see, it's not exclusive content that is the cause for concern. It's rather what that content is and how it's distributed that is the concern. If the coming Armory decks include special treatments and limited their reprinted cards to mid-range values, then the demand for the Armory deck products by the existing player base will be minimal. Unfortunately, given the wording of the announcement at Gamma, specifically the new content versus the term exclusive content, it's highly likely that there will be, in fact, some new game pieces. And if this is the case, if the Armory decks do come with unique game pieces, as long as they come with full play sets in the deck, the impact will be felt, but still manageable. Because it means that existing players who want and or need the content will only require one of the $40 product. But if not, asking the community to do $80 or even $120 for play sets, I believe will be very poorly received. So as long as we avoid a repeat of the glistening Steelblade scenario, all should be well. So for now, don't fret about the exclusive content tag or the limited quantities, and try and remember that the Armory products are what we've been waiting for. So let's be excited about them and see where it goes from here as we get more information. Thanks for watching, my friends, and go Commando.